Here we go. Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. Every Thursday, I'm joined by Mr. Doug Upstone of DocSports.com, one of the finest sports handicappers in the country today, one of the top handicappers at Doc Sports, and Doc Sports is loaded with good handicappers. Having said that, Doug, how are you?
Well, Russ, I'm doing well, and I have a question though for you. Is
Sure.
that I know I'm wearing this bright orange because I was wondering if you actually, and I know I'm late for Halloween, but if you had any candy left over, that you could send my way, So I thought, what better way to do that is to wear the right colors in order to do that.
Well, you keep breaking my hump about how warm it is in Arizona. My concern is if I send you chocolate, even across the country, and I FedExed it to you, it still would melt. So that kills that subject. Anyway, Doug, a lot of interesting things have happened since the last time we talked about the NFL last Thursday. Aaron Rodgers has been tested positive for COVID-19. He will not play against the Chiefs. That certainly had a bearing on the line where it's is right now and what it opened at. Derrick Henry out for the year. Tennessee will be playing the Rams on Sunday night, and I'm going to cover that as one of my free picks at the end of the show. So stay tuned for those, folks. But in the interim, Doug, your feelings on how do you handle these types of situations? You personally, do you stay away from games like that? Do you tend to lean on the team that has the injured player, or a little of both?
Yeah, actually, for the most part, especially in the NFL, I tend to stay away. There's just an unknown now, because obviously the replacement, Jordan Love taking over for the Packers. I did see where there was some sharp action on the Packers because it went from basically 1.5 to 8.5, but then came back down to either 7 or 7.5 on Kansas City, and so I understand the Packers are still, pretty good, and everything that goes along with that record. But, let's face it, Jordan Love's not Aaron Rodgers. So that would be hard for me. And, Derrick Henry, I, I don't know how you replace I know running backs don't have the value they used to in a lot of people's eyes, but when this guy's the best in football and you have built your offense around him, that's one to overcome. Tannehill, he's good, but he's not Rodgers either. So that those two kind of scare me. And then also here's a quick funny story. The whole Odell Beckham Jr. thing is coming on. So I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in Vegas, and when the story broke and stuff like that, so I asked him, I go, hey, what do you think will there be any impact on Beckham Jr., in terms of the line? He goes, absolutely none.
Yeah, I agree. He took the words right out of my mouth because he's been, when he's been on the field, has been unproductive. He does not seem to have the same burst he had prior to his injury. And some interesting side notes. The Green Bay Packers, one of the best underdogs in football in recent years, catching 7.5 at Kansas City with a backup Jordan Love, former controversial #1 draft choice of the Packers, and he'll get a chance and an opportunity to show he's worth that position he was drafted in. And the other thing, Derrick Henry. I don't want to put the cart before the horse here. My only concern with Tennessee right now is they're going to be facing a Rams defense is pretty much underachieved this year, Doug, but their front seven still can get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And without Henry in the lineup, if they have no running game, I don't think they'll go without a running game.
Right.
Obviously, nobody's going to be able to replace Derrick Henry, not only on the Tennessee Titans roster, but on any other NFL roster. He's a unique kind. A lot of interesting things to look at in games like that. I'm with you, Doug. I tiptoe around games like that because you don't know what's going to happen. My personal, and I don't want to get your take on this, Doug. It just seems to me, being an athlete in my younger days, following sports religiously since I've been a kid, being in the sports betting industry, more importantly, over the last 20 years, I've always felt that on a majority of occasions, when a team loses a key player, a la an Aaron Rodgers or a Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's a better example because they know they're going to be without him for a while. Aaron Rodgers is just a temporary thing. Okay. When you lose a star player that is projected to be out an extended period of time, the first game after that occurs, it seems like everybody steps up, everybody does their part, and then they come down to earth after that. But always skeptical about going against those teams for that specific reason. Your thoughts?
Yeah, in the NFL, I'm wholeheartedly agree. That can certainly happen, and it does happen. It's just that in this case, these two particular players, happen to be among the best at their position. So that's a red flag for me. Now, if you're talking the NBA, okay, uh, honestly, most injuries when that happens, I'll go with the team that has the injured player,
Right,
especially
right.
for one game. I mean, that's like almost an automatic bet from that standpoint. But here, I'm just skeptical in both these situations as to what to see, what to think, and then also was it since 2008, I believe, with Rodgers a quarterback, when there's been a backup playing, the Packers are 6-11-1 straight up. So it doesn't seem to bode well as bad as Kansas City's playing, from that standpoint. But yeah, I'm looking the other way, which just to me that's two less games that I'm looking at this weekend. Primarily, it's what it comes down to.
And that's a great take on the NBA because yes, you're right. That seems to be more prevalent as a good play. The first game after somebody loses a star like a Kevin Durant. And let's not forget, Aaron Rodgers was the MVP of the league last year, and Derrick Henry was the odds-on favorite to win it this year. So we're not talking about just stars. We're talking about the elite of the elite. Anyway, we got two games we're going to talk about and give you free picks on for Sunday, November 7th. Before we get to those, folks, friendly reminder, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, it's absolutely free to do so. There's no obligation. There's no subscription plan. Uh, you click on the subscribe button, you hit that notification bell if you wish, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our sports betting videos going up on this channel. Not only with myself and Doug Upstone, also myself and Chip Chirimbus and some of my solo videos during basketball season as well. So again, subscribe, folks, and at the end of the video, uh, do us a favor, show a small token of your appreciation, and give us a like. Not that difficult. Doug, what do you got for us on Sunday?
Well, I'm looking at a non-conference game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Minnesota Vikings. Myself, I'm expecting a Baltimore squad to be very focused coming off a bye week after being humiliated by the Cincinnati Bengals and the defense being smoked for over 500 yards. That was pretty amazing to watch. Oddly enough, and I did not realize this until looked at it this week. This is the Ravens' fourth straight home game. Okay,
Wow, that's
so
unusual.
very unusual. And now there's a bye in there. So they haven't been on the road since week 4. Now, looking ahead, they'll be on the road for their next 5 games. So, things will start to balance out. But it's a long time to be home. But I think in this case, I think it's going to help them in the land of crab cakes going up against Minnesota. Now, the Vikings couldn't beat Dallas, Ross, last week without Dak Prescott. Now they're going to go on the road and they're going to try and contain Lamar Jackson and knock off Baltimore on the road. Gosh, I'm just not seeing it at all in this one, even though the spread is 6 points favoring Baltimore. Baltimore comes into this one 9-4 off a bye, and they are 12-1 against the number with rest, facing a team, a non-division team. While, in the other hand, the Norsemen, okay, they come into this one since last year, Ross, they're on a 3-11 ATS run. I'm going Baltimore here all the way at -6 for this week's free play.
Very nice. Baltimore -6 over the Minnesota Vikings. What are you suggesting, Doug? That Cooper Rush isn't the threat that Lamar Jackson is? How dare you? Anyway, yeah, that Minnesota, they had a golden opportunity right there. They're sitting at 3-3, looking to up their record to 4-3. Got a backup quarterback. You would think a huge drop off, but boy, oh boy, Cooper Rush played a hell of a game. Or Minnesota's defense isn't that good. And yeah, I actually had a free pick on this game early in the week. If you watched my segment I'm talking to the viewers out there. If you watch my segment, NFL segment with Chip Chirimbus on the winner's circle, I like this game to go over the total because look, Baltimore in nothing. And again, I'm not trying to discredit what Doug just said, but what concerns me with the total with Baltimore is they've now given up 491 yards or more in 3 games this season already, in 3 of 7 games. And you know, you think of Baltimore, you think of elite defenses, you think of Ray Lewis in those crews, and then recent years, they've been a top-notch defense, but they have not lived up to expectations this year. And Cincinnati torched them, like Doug just said. And Minnesota, what the only thing that shocked me, Doug, is not the fact they lost that game, is the fact that I'm not crazy about the Dallas defense, and the statistics backed my opinion going into that game. I mean, they've relied a lot on turnovers, but however, they probably played their best defensive game of the year. And the Vikings still have weapons. I mean, look, you got Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins. You could do a lot worse than him at quarterback, and their 2 wide receivers in Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, among the best tandem in the NFL. So a game I'm certainly looking forward to. Doug, I hope it's the Baltimore Ravens -6 and over 49.5. So not only do we cash in, the folks cash in out there. Let me get to my play now that I got done talking about Doug's forever in a day. The Tennessee Titans at the LA Rams on Sunday night. We already mentioned the fact that Derrick Henry is out of the lineup, and that certainly takes a bearing on the point spread in this game. But I'm going to take a look at the total. Now, having said what we said before about how that affects Tennessee's offense, the loss of Derrick Henry, there's no 2 ways about it. They're not going to, I will go out on a limb and say they're not going to get their 150 yards plus rushing per game like they've been doing with Henry in the lineup. Okay. I still think they'll be able to run the ball, and that will help release some pressure from Ryan Tannehill. And you know, you still got the likes of A.J. Brown and Julio Jones on the outside. So I think Tennessee will score their fair share of points against a Rams defense that's been vastly underachieving this year. As a matter of fact, they're very lucky. They're only allowing 21 points a game, but their yards suggest it should be much more than that. And both of these teams rank up there in offensive categories. Tennessee being 11 in total offense, number 6 in scoring offense, while the Rams are number 5 in total offense, number 4 in pass offense, number 5 in scoring offense, and number 5 on third down percentage, converting 46.2% of those opportunities, which keeps drives alive and is a reason why they're one of the highest scoring teams in the NFL. On top of that, since 2009, the Tennessee Titans, 7-1 to the over, Doug, on the road when there's a total of 49.5 or greater. This one's 53.5. And Tennessee also, since 2009, after game 3 of the season, they've gone 16-4 over the total. And that's with a total of 47.5 or less. It goes up to 8-1 over the total. So guess what I like? I like the Tennessee Titans and the LA Rams over 53.5. Doug Upstone, he's on Baltimore, -6 against Minnesota. Doug, what do you got coming up this week at Doc Sports?
Well, what I got coming up, Ross, is that I got a 7-unit play in the NFL, which is my best bet. And in NFL best bets so far this year, 7-1, okay, on best bets. And for the season, 21-10 for the complete season of the NFL, 67.7%, up over $4,200 worth of profit based on units. So looking forward to another winning weekend in the NFL and in college football as well. And I would be remiss. Now, I know this is not your favorite deal here, at least to my knowledge, but the Breeders' Cup is this weekend in Del Mar, California, which I went right by that track this summer, driving around. And so I'm looking forward to it. I don't do the Friday, the juvenile picks from those juvenile races, I should say. But for the more traditional Breeders' Cup races, I will have a full card ready to go from a variety of races on Saturday at Doc Sports. So looking forward to the ponies, Ross.
Hey, well, explain that to the folks because I know a lot of people who aren't horse fans out there don't know the significance of the Breeders' Cup, for example, against the Kentucky Derby in
Sure. Well,
comparison.
yeah, the Breeders' Cup. I mean, it's somewhat similar. It's actually it's been in this is the 38th running, I believe, of the Breeders' Cup. And so what it is that the in these various races, it's a little bit like the Kentucky Derby, where you have to get enough points based on how you perform in a variety of different races, and you earn your way into these. So then now there's there's different races in terms of either length or certain categories, whether they be on grass or on turf, and you have to work your way in. So this is the creme de la creme, okay, of the horse racing and all the races. And there's also a lot of, whether it be European or Japanese horses, that also make their way to the United States for this event. So it's a really big deal worldwide. And horse racing is, it's not nearly as popular here as what it used to be, but around the world it's still, it's still pretty popular across the board. And a lot of different offshore books, do good business, okay, in horse racing. So it's, like I said, it's a big deal. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun to handicap. It's maddening to handicap, but it's a lot of fun to do.
So when does that start and take place,
So
Doug?
yeah, so it's Friday. So it'll be Friday, November the 5th. And again, there's a full card. There's, I believe, each day there's 12 races. In terms of big races, there's 5 on Friday, and then on Saturday there be 12 races. NBC, depending on what you have, NBC Sports will carry a number of them. You can also get them on their other platforms, whether that be the app or NBC Sports Plus app then too. So I mean, there's lots of places this will be available to watch, and of course, horse racing forever has been legal, okay, to bet on. So it's a fun thing to do, and for two, even if you don't even do much with it, $2 or $3, okay, on a race to bet. And if you happen to win, hey, you're a hero. Okay, you've got the right horse in the winner's circle. It's a lot of fun, and it's, like I said, it's also maddening when your horse is leading and it comes down to the last, the final pole, and you get beat by a nose. Oh yeah, that's always a good feeling.
That's not fun. It is maddening, but it's not fun. Doug, you're going to be selling those horse racing picks at
Yep,
docsports.com. I'm going to put you
correct.
on the spot here. All right, do you have a free pick you could share in the Breeders' Cup?
You know what? I honestly, I don't. I will say that because I'm actually doing that literally as soon as we're done with this video. I'm
Okay.
doing everything. But I will tell you this is that as far as what to look for to bet, is look for in the races that are going to be on the dirt. Okay, look for most of the favorites. Okay, so you might want to do some, if you're looking for some different, well, whether it be exactas, trifectas, stuff like that, and keep the favorites at the top. Otherwise, the horses or the races that are going to be on the grass, those are certainly much more wide open. So if you can put together the right combinations, there's some money to be made more going to be, I think, on those races more so than the dirt races.
So keep an eye on Doug at docsports.com with his Breeders' Cups picks this weekend. And I'm sure you're going to be doing a video on the Breeders' Cup as well.
I actually no, I'm not going to. Just there's, let's just say the amount of it has a lot of attention for horse players, but
Yeah,
horse players are, let's just say, a smaller group overall. I'll probably have some mention in my own personal videos with something on that,
yeah.
but nothing specifically. And I actually hadn't thought about the video. I'm glad you brought it up. Maybe I should do a free pick. I probably will do a free pick on Friday or Saturday for that.
Yeah, well, you let me know. Send me over the file. We'll get it up on our channel as well. And Doug's one of the best when it comes to the horses. So, folks, make sure you check him out at docsports.com. You can find me at rbwins.com, coming off a Monday night win with the New York Giants plus 10.5 over Kansas City. Look to turn that into momentum. Thursday night, I have a game in the Jets Indy game. You're probably not going to see this video before that game starts. But I'll have plenty of action on Saturday and Sunday in football. 5 picks in the college football card on Saturday, including a conference game of the year, 10-star top play game of the week in the NFL on Sunday. And also we'll have a Monday night selection as well. That's rbwins.com, where you pay a little to make a lot. And again, you can find Doug at docsports.com. Until the next time, for Doug Upstone, I'm Ross Benjamin. We'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care and God bless.